Mohammed Dahlan was the former head of security for Yasser Arafat, former strongman of Fatah, and possible successor of Mahmoud Abbas at the head of the Palestinian Authority. Dahlan's shadow hangs over all the intrigue stirring in the Near and Middle East. The Palestinian uses his networks and money in Egypt, Tunisia, and Libya with incomparable dexterity to establish the influence payment the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Most recently, it's his role in the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi that was revealed, but we'll leave that for another video. Abu Fadi is his nom de guerre, or war name. Recently, his involvement in the financing and arming of mercenaries deployed in Yemen to fight Houthi rebels has been the subject of much debate. Some intelligence services also provide him with a number of targeted assassinations with the help of international mercenary teams. His expertise has made him the most prominent security advisor in Abu Dhabi. His mandate to influence the recomposition of the Middle East in the direction most favorable to Mohammed bin Zayed, or MBZ, and to sabotage Qatari interests by the most insidious of means. Dahlan Mohammed bin Zayed, who was also born in 1961, in 1993, during a trip by Yasser Arafat to Abu Dhabi. Mohammed Dahlan was at that time a young advisor to the Palestinian Rais and was preparing to take over the leadership of preventative security, one of the police units in the Gaza Strip, which had also around that time just been evacuated by the Israeli army in accordance with the Oslo agreements. A function of this role for Mohammed Dahlan was his ability to siphon off money from the freight trucks entering the territory in his remit. These are the source of the corruption accusations that have dogged him throughout his career. Mohammed bin Zayed in 1993 was at that time a fighter pilot, positioned to become the heir to his half-brother, Khalifa, to whom the succession of Zayed, the founder of the UAE, was already promised. And the young prince turned a state bureau which managed the funds that foreign arms companies must reinvest locally after obtaining a contract into the major political rise. So when the summer of 2011 rolled around and Mahmoud Abbas had expelled Mohammed Dahlan from Fatah and taken him to court for embezzlement, it was quite naturally in the Emirates that Mohammed Dahlan took refuge. In Abu Dhabi, Dahlan is working harder than to counter the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood, winners of the first democratic election in Egypt after the revolutions that took place, or not the Arab Spring, however you want to look at it, in 2011, the UAE was anti-Muslim Brotherhood and as such sent him off to instigate problems. Sure enough, a counter-revolution was played out, and the army got involved. Military coup with General Abdel Fattah Sisi at the helm. Uh, in fact, he's still at the helm of Egypt right now. So it was Arabia alongside UAE under the leadership of Mohammed bin Zayed, who deputized Mohammed Dahlan to support the Egyptians, specifically the military and specifically Abdel Fattah Sisi. Now let's turn our attention to Libya, after covering Egypt and Palestine. The UAE supports Khalifa Haftar, who is based in the Syria region. General Khalifa Haftar stands diametrically opposed to the pro-Qatar camp of Misrata. General Khalifa Haftar is also against the Prime Minister of National Understanding or Reconciliation, Faiz Sarraj, who seems to have the backing of the Western world. The UAE has been instrumental in delivering arms and weapons, and heavy weaponry, I should say, to the General Haftar's camp in Libya, in Syria, on a number of occasions since 2012. Now we have Sisi links, which is linked in the description below alongside other sources. And there have been numerous recordings which have been released to the public, highlighting this triangle between Mohammed Dahlan, the UAE, and Egypt. Now, the origin of these weapons seem to go back to the Balkans region. Now, the way in which Mohammed Dahlan has a connection to the Balkans, he interestingly has two citizenships in Serbia and Montenegro. But we must go back to the 2000s, when, on the strength of an old friendship between former Yugoslavia and the PLO, which was forged during the non-aligned movement, Dahlan infiltrated the business circles of the region at large. He approached two senior executives, Milo Junkovic and who was Prime Minister of Montenegro 4 times between 1991 and 2016, and Alexander Vucic, who's the former Prime Minister and now President of Serbia. Dahlan was able, through a cascade of Balkan companies, such as Levant International Corporation, Al Fursan, or Queens Beach Development, Dahlan was able to conclude some very lucrative business, such as the production of Egyptian cigarettes or the acquisition of land along the Zagreb-Belgrade highway. Most importantly, perhaps, these connections allowed Mohammed Dahlan to help his boss, Mohammed bin Zayed, to penetrate this market and region of the world. Between 2013 and 2015, Abu Dhabi won several major contracts in Serbia under particularly opaque conditions, including the Belgrade waterfront, a project estimated at $3.5 billion to renovate an old of the capital. As we've stated, Mohammed Dahlan has Montenegrin passports and as such is a citizen under those nations, as well as 11 for his relatives. As we also said, Mohammed bin Zayed and by extension the UAE's interest in the Balkans besides business is due to the region's arms stocks. When the breakup of the region occurred due to civil war in the 1990s, there was a whole heap of weaponry which was left over. The Guardian revealed in 2015 at least 8 cargo planes loaded with weapons took off for Abu Dhabi. In June of the same year, General Haftar of Libya visited Belgrade.